Space exploration has always been a source of fascination and inspiration for people around the world. From the earliest days of human civilization, people have looked up at the stars and wondered what lies beyond our planet. For centuries, humans have been striving to reach the stars, to explore the vast expanse of space, and to uncover the secrets of the universe. Today, we stand at the brink of a new era of space exploration, one that is characterized by unprecedented opportunities and challenges. Advances in technology and science are enabling us to reach farther and deeper into space than ever before, and are giving us the tools and knowledge we need to unlock the mysteries of the universe and to pave the way for a new era of human exploration in the final frontier. The future of space exploration is filled with possibilities and is sure to be an exciting and thrilling journey of discovery and adventure. Join us as we explore the future of space exploration and discover what lies ahead for humanity as we venture out into the vast and mysterious universe that surrounds us. How do we make these sentiments real? I give you the NASA Artemis program. So what is the Artemis program? In this video, we will provide you with a total comprehensive rundown of everything past, present, and future to do with the Artemis program. The NASA Artemis program is a human spaceflight program that aims to land the first woman and the next man on the moon by 2024, and to establish a sustained human presence on the lunar surface. The program is named after Artemis, the goddess of the moon in Greek mythology, and is part of the broader Artemis Accords, which is an international agreement that outlines the principles and guidelines for exploration and use of the moon's resources by multiple nations. The Artemis program will use a range of new technologies and innovative approaches to achieve its goals. For example, NASA will use the Space Launch System, or SLS rocket, and the Orion spacecraft for deep space missions, including the first lunar landing. The SLS will be the most powerful rocket ever built, and the Orion spacecraft will be the first human-rated spacecraft designed for long-duration missions beyond Earth's orbit. In addition, the Artemis program will develop a sustainable human presence on the lunar surface, which will include the construction of a lunar base called the Gateway in orbit around the moon. The Gateway will serve as a staging point for missions to and from the lunar surface, and will provide a habitable environment for astronauts to live and work in. The Gateway will also support a range of scientific and technology demonstrations, as well as commercial activities. The Artemis program also involves a number of international partnerships, including with the European Space Agency, or ESA, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, or JAXA, and the Canadian Space Agency, or the CSA. These partnerships will help to advance the goals of the Artemis program and will enable NASA to share costs and benefits of lunar exploration with its international partners. The Artemis program is a bold and ambitious plan to return humans to the moon and to establish a sustainable presence on the lunar surface. Through the use of advanced technologies and international collaboration, NASA hopes to pave the way for future exploration of the moon and beyond, and to unlock the many scientific and economic benefits that the lunar environment has to offer. Stephen Swanson, a NASA astronaut who has spent more than 195 days in orbit on 3 missions to the International Space Station, stated, quote, "The real goal is Mars, and we will use the moon as a test bed because Mars is a very difficult mission. It's going to take almost 3 years, and you can't come home early on a Mars mission. It's a 7 or 8 month journey to get there, and you'll have to wait 15 months there for the planets to align correctly before you return." End quote. The Space Launch System rocket. The Space Launch System, also known as SLS for short, is a powerful heavy-lift rocket being developed by NASA with the aim of providing a reliable and cost-effective means of sending astronauts and cargo into deep space. The SLS is designed to be flexible and evolvable, with the ability to carry a variety of payloads and to be upgraded over time to support future missions to destinations such as the Moon, Mars, and beyond. The SLS will be the most powerful rocket ever built, capable of generating over 8.8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. During its 8-minute ascent into space, the SLS will be propelled into orbit by the 4 liquid propellant engines located at the base of each rocket, in addition to solid rocket boosters. The solid rocket boosters are a holdover from NASA's Space Shuttle program, albeit they have been adjusted to operate with SLS. The solid rocket boosters will be replaced by more modern boosters as technology advances. Between the boosters, the long, thin rocket structure, known as the core stage, rises more than 200 feet or 61 meters and will hold 2.76 million liters or 730,000 gallons of supercooled liquid hydrogen and oxygen to fuel the engines. It will be comprised of 2 core stages and a pair of solid rocket boosters, as well as an upper stage for added propulsion. The first stage, which will use 4 RS-25 engines, is being built by Boeing, while the second stage, which will use a single J2X engine, is being developed by Aerojet Rocketdyne. The solid rocket boosters, which will provide additional thrust during the early stages of flight, are being built by Northrop Grumman. The SLS will be capable of launching up to 70 metric tons into low Earth orbit, making it the most powerful rocket in operation today. This will enable it to support a wide range of missions, including the exploration of the Moon and Mars, as well as the deployment of large satellites and other payloads. One of the key features of the SLS is the ability to be configured to meet the specific needs of different missions. The SLS will be available in 2 primary configurations, the Block 1 and the Block 1B. The Block 1 configuration will be the initial version of the SLS and will be capable of launching up to 70 metric tons into low Earth orbit. The Block 1B configuration will be an upgraded version of the SLS and will be capable of launching up to 105 metric tons into low Earth orbit. In addition to the 2 primary configurations, the SLS will be available in a number of other configurations to support specific missions and payloads. For example, the SLS will be available in a configuration with a single solid rocket booster, which will be used for missions that require a lower capacity launch vehicle. The SLS will also be available in a configuration with 4 solid rocket boosters, which will provide additional thrust and enable the SLS to launch larger payloads into higher orbits. In addition to its impressive lifting capacity, the SLS also features a number of advanced technologies and design features that make it uniquely suited for deep space exploration. For example, the rocket's engines are designed to be reusable, which will help to reduce the cost of future missions. The SLS also features a robust, advanced avionics system that will provide real-time data and guidance to mission controllers on the ground, as well as advanced software and algorithms that will help the rocket navigate its way through space. One of the key advantages of the SLS is its ability to evolve and be upgraded over time. As NASA's plans for deep space exploration evolve, the SLS will be able to incorporate new technologies and capabilities to support new missions and destinations. This will help to ensure that the SLS remains a valuable and flexible tool for space exploration well into the future. Overall, The SLS is an impressive and ambitious project that has the potential to revolutionize our ability to explore deep space. With its powerful engines, advanced technologies, and flexibility, the SLS is poised to become a cornerstone of NASA's plan for deep space exploration and a key driver of future discoveries in the final frontier. If space science is your passion, do us a favor and hit like and subscribe so we can keep making more great content for you. The Orion spacecraft. To transport astronauts into deep space, the Orion spacecraft is being designed as a next-generation spaceship. The Orion spacecraft's main contractor is Lockheed Martin. When Lockheed Martin won the contract in August 2006, it had an estimated value of up to $8.15 billion. The corporation started working on the spacecraft in 2004. Orion was initially created for NASA's Constellation program, which aimed to send people to Mars eventually, as well as the International Space Station, the Moon, and the lunar surface. Orion has undergone extensive ground testing over many years in addition to the flight tests to make sure it is ready for orbit. After its first successful spaceflight, Artemis II has recently achieved a number of significant milestones, including finishing parachute testing in 2018, passing a crucial propulsion test in 2019, and performing splashdown drop tests in a pool in 2021 to get ready for the first humans to board Artemis II. The Orion spacecraft is designed to be modular and adaptable, with the ability to support a wide range of missions, including crewed missions to the Moon, Mars, and other destinations. The Orion spacecraft will consist of a crew module, a service module built by the European Space Agency, and a launch abort system, which will provide astronauts with a means of escaping the rocket in the event of an emergency. The capsule and service module together are about 26 feet or 8 meters long, with a diameter of 16.5 feet or 5 meters. The spacecraft's habitable volume is 316 feet, or 8.95 cubic meters, which is about 1.5 times larger than the Apollo spacecraft. The Orion spacecraft will be launched atop the Space Launch System, or SLS rocket, and will be capable of carrying up to 4 astronauts on long-duration missions to deep space. It will feature state-of-the-art life support systems, as well as advanced environmental control and life support systems to keep the astronauts safe and comfortable during their journey. The Orion spacecraft will also be equipped with a variety of scientific instruments and sensors to support a range of space exploration and research activities. One of the key features of Orion is its ability to sustain astronauts for extended periods of time in space. The spacecraft will be equipped with a habitation module, which will provide the astronauts with a comfortable and livable space during their journey. The habitation module will include features such as a galley, a toilet, and space for the astronauts to sleep and relax. It will also be equipped with advanced life support systems, such as water and air filtration systems, to ensure that the astronauts have a clean and safe environment to live in. The Orion spacecraft will also be equipped with a powerful propulsion system, which will enable it to maneuver in space and to perform a variety of other critical functions. The spacecraft will be equipped with both chemical and electric propulsion systems, which will provide it with the flexibility to support a wide range of missions. For example, the electric propulsion system will be used for fine adjustments and maneuvering, while the chemical propulsion system will provide the spacecraft with the powerful thrust needed to escape Earth's gravity and travel to deep space destinations. The Orion spacecraft, just like the SLS rocket, is an exciting and ambitious project that has the potential to revolutionize space exploration. With its advanced technologies, flexible design, and ability to support extended missions in deep space, the Orion spacecraft is poised to become a valuable and versatile tool for exploring space. The SLS and Orion spacecraft are key elements of NASA's plan to extend human presence beyond low Earth orbit and to establish a sustained presence on the Moon. Together, these powerful and capable systems will provide the foundation for a new era of exploration and discovery in space. Gateway. The NASA Gateway project is a planned human-tended spacecraft that will be placed in orbit around the Moon as part of the agency's Artemis program. The Gateway will serve as a staging point for future crewed missions to the Moon and will provide a safe and secure environment for astronauts to live and work in while they are in lunar orbit. The Gateway will consist of a number of modules, including a habitat module where the astronauts will live and work, a logistics module for storing supplies and equipment, and a power and propulsion module for maintaining the spacecraft's orbit and providing propulsion. There are multiple module concepts and ideas that will be added over time. For the first crewed mission to the Gateway, Artemis 3, the Gateway will be a minimalistic mini space station composed of only 2 modules: the power and propulsion element and the habitation and logistics outpost. Both will be assembled on Earth and launched together on a Falcon Heavy in November 2024. The Gateway will also be equipped with a variety of scientific instruments and sensors, which will be used to conduct research on the Moon and its environment. One of the key goals of the Gateway project is to provide a safe and secure base of operations for future missions to the Moon. The Gateway will serve as a staging point for crewed missions to the lunar surface and will provide astronauts with a place to rest and prepare for their excursions. The Gateway will also serve as a waypoint for resupply missions, which will be critical for maintaining a sustained presence on the Moon. In addition to its practical functions, the Gateway project will also provide valuable experience and expertise for future space missions. The Gateway will serve as a test bed for new technologies and systems, such as advanced life support systems, propulsion systems, and space habitats. By participating in the Gateway project, NASA and its partners will gain valuable experience and knowledge that will be invaluable for future space exploration endeavors. The NASA Gateway project is a thrilling undertaking I personally will be intently watching very closely. By providing a safe and secure base of operations for future missions to the Moon, the Gateway will be a crucial element of NASA's Artemis program and will help to lay the groundwork for future missions to destinations such as Mars and beyond. Capstone. Cislunar Autonomous Positioning System Technology Operations and Navigation Experiment, also known as Capstone, is a CubeSat weighing just 55 pounds or 25 kilograms and is about the size of a microwave oven. The craft is kitted out with solar arrays, a camera, and antenna that facilitate communication and navigation. The low-cost craft was funded by NASA in 2019, meaning the time between development and deployment has been much shorter than is typically seen in space missions. The overall management of the system is handled by NASA's Small Spacecraft Technology Program within the agency's Space Technology Mission Directorate. Capstone's primary mission is to test a unique highly elliptical or flattened orbit around the Moon, officially called a near rectilinear halo orbit or NRHO. This lunar orbit is located at a precise and stable balance point in the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the Moon. A craft in such a highly elliptical NRHO should require less propulsion when flying to and from the Moon's surface than would be required by craft in more circular orbits. This is because, unlike most halo orbits, an NRHO is marginally stable, requiring the use of small amounts of propellants to maintain. Capstone will explore such an energy-efficient orbit for 6 months, allowing scientists to assess its characteristics and requirements like power and propulsion that are needed to maintain it. That means the test orbit of Capstone should point to the ideal staging area for future missions to the Moon. Capstone will also test a navigation system developed by Advanced Space that will measure its absolute position in cislunar space using interaction with NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter without relying on ground stations for navigation support. Capstone is one of the first steps to learn how to operate more robust missions in this unique orbit, thus laying the groundwork for future exploration of our solar system. A key task of Capstone will be the testing of spacecraft-to-spacecraft navigation systems. Managing this is a second payload, consisting of a flight computer and radio, calculating Capstone's position in its orbital path. The CubeSat will use NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, as a reference point, communicating back and forth with its predecessor, which launched in 2009. This peer-to-peer communication with the LRO will help test Capstone's navigation system, the Cislunar Autonomous Positioning System, or CAPS, which could enable future spacecraft to track their location without the need to communicate with Earth. The aim of testing both an NRHO and these navigation and communication systems is to establish stability for forthcoming lunar missions, such as the Lunar Gateway and other, smaller, less costly lunar projects. On June 28, 2022, Rocket Lab launched the Capstone spacecraft for NASA and Advanced Space on board the Electron rocket. On July 4, 2022, Rocket Lab's Lunar Photon spacecraft completed a translunar injection and successfully deployed Capstone on its mission to the Moon. If you've enjoyed this video, do us a favor and hit like, click, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Artemis 1. Artemis 1 is the first mission of NASA's Artemis program. Artemis 1 is an uncrewed mission that tested the capabilities of the Space Launch System rocket and the Orion spacecraft, which will be used for deep space missions, including the first lunar landing. On November 16, 2022, at 6:47:44 UTC, Artemis 1 was successfully launched from Kennedy Space Center. Mannequin Commander Munkin Campos sat in the commander's chair and wore the Orion Crew Survival System, a unique outfit made to help shield against radiation. Throughout the trip, 2 radiation sensors kept an eye on radiation levels. Arturo Campos, an electrical engineer who played a crucial role in bringing the Apollo 13 mission back to Earth safely, is honored by having his name given to Munkin Campos. Thanks to study by the German Space Agency, Campos was accompanied by 2 virtual female astronauts who occupied the other Orion seats, DLR. Zohar, one of the test subjects, wore a STEMRAD radiation protective vest. Helga, the other, was unprotected. Although the mannequins were secured, it was necessary to test out weightlessness. So NASA used a Snoopy plush toy outfitted with an iconic orange NASA uniform, also known as the pumpkin uniform, as a zero-gravity indicator in space. During the Artemis 1 mission, the Orion spacecraft was launched atop the SLS rocket from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The spacecraft then traveled on a 3-week journey around the Moon, during which it tested the capabilities of the spacecraft systems and instruments, and evaluated its performance in the harsh environment of deep space. This included testing the spacecraft's life support systems, propulsion systems, and radiation protection systems. In addition to testing the SLS and Orion spacecraft, the Artemis 1 mission also tested a number of other technologies and systems that will be critical for future human missions to the Moon. This included testing a new advanced solar electric propulsion system, which will be used to power the Gateway. After completing its lunar flyby, the Orion spacecraft returned to Earth, where it splashed down in the Pacific Ocean on December 11, 2022. This was the first time that the Orion spacecraft had been tested in deep space, and the data collected during the mission will be used to refine and improve the spacecraft's design for future missions. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson stated, quote, The splashdown of the Orion spacecraft, which occurred 50 years to the day of the Apollo 17 moon landing, is the crowning achievement of Artemis 1. From the launch of the world's most powerful rocket to the exceptional journey around the moon and back to Earth, this flight test is a major step forward in the Artemis generation of lunar exploration." End quote. Artemis 1 is an important milestone in the Artemis program and has provided valuable data and insights that will be critical for future missions to the moon. By testing the SLS and Orion spacecraft and other key technologies, Artemis 1 has helped to pave the way for the first human landing on the moon since 1972. Artemis 2. The Artemis 2 mission is a planned NASA mission that will be the first crewed flight of the agency's Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System rocket. The Artemis 2 mission is scheduled to take place in 2024 and will involve sending a crew of 4 astronauts on a mission to the moon and carry out a lunar flyby for a maximum of 21 days using the Block 1 variant of the Space Launch System. Depending on the mission's goals, the mission may last up to 3 weeks, but it is anticipated to last 8 to 10 days. If the new mission achieves its anticipated maximum altitude of 5,523 miles, or 8,889 kilometers above the moon's surface, the 4 astronauts aboard Artemis 2 will have traveled the farthest from Earth since the 1970s Apollo 13 mission. Although the 4 astronauts who will make up the Artemis 2 crew have not yet been announced, we do know this: all of NASA's astronauts will be qualified to participate in Artemis program flights, the agency announced in 2022. In addition, this mission will have an astronaut seat for the Canadian Space Agency. The CSA has 4 astronauts available, and one of the Artemis 2 crew members is still unnamed. After promising to contribute robots to NASA's manned lunar program, Canada was granted an astronaut seat. The mission will be the second opportunity for NASA to test the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket in a deep space environment, and will provide valuable experience and expertise for future missions to the moon and beyond. The Orion capsule, together with the SLS's upper stage, known as the Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, or ICPS, will orbit the Earth twice during Artemis 2 due to its human payload, as opposed to just once during Artemis 1 before proceeding to the moon. While the crew is still relatively close to Earth, this is done to check that all systems are operating at their best. Before returning to Earth, the astronauts on board will go 7,400 miles, or 4,600 kilometers, beyond the far side of the moon. One of the key goals of the Artemis 2 mission is to demonstrate the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket, and to validate their performance in a deep space environment. The mission will also provide valuable experience and expertise for the astronauts, who will be among the first to fly on the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket. By demonstrating the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and the SLS rocket, the Artemis 2 mission will be a crucial step towards establishing a sustained human presence on the moon, and will help lay the groundwork for future missions to destinations such as Mars and beyond. Artemis 3. The Artemis 3 mission is a planned NASA mission that will be the first crewed landing on the moon as part of the agency's Artemis program. The mission is scheduled to take place in 2025 and will be broken into 2 parts. The goal of the expedition is to send a woman and a person of color to the moon for the first time. Up to 4 astronauts could leave Earth aboard the Orion spacecraft connected to the SLS. But the Human Landing System, or HLS, will complete the surface mission. 2 crew members will go on that mission, and they will stay on the surface for 6 to 7 days. The other 2 astronauts will remain on Orion. Additional gear, including an unpressurized rover for astronauts to use on their lunar outings, will be pre-positioned on the surface before the Artemis 3 landing. Don't worry, we will cover HLS and the rover shortly in this video. The 2 astronauts on the lunar surface will conduct a variety of scientific experiments and demonstrations. The mission will also provide valuable experience and expertise for the astronauts, who will be among the first to land on the moon since the ending of the Apollo program in 1972. The mission will also be an opportunity to test new technologies and systems, such as the lunar rover mentioned before, and other surface exploration vehicles. In addition to its practical goals, the Artemis 3 mission will also have a strong scientific focus. The astronauts on the mission will be equipped with a variety of scientific instruments and sensors, which they will use to conduct research on the moon and its environment. The exact location on the moon where Artemis will land has not yet been determined. However, NASA is currently considering a number of potential landing sites, including the lunar South Pole and the lunar equatorial region. The choice of landing site will be based on a number of factors, including the availability of resources such as water ice, the accessibility of the site, and the potential for scientific research. One of the key reasons why NASA is interested in exploring the lunar South Pole is the presence of water ice in the region. Water is an essential resource for human exploration of the moon, as it can be used for drinking, hygiene, and as a source of oxygen. The presence of water ice at the lunar South Pole could provide a valuable resource for future missions to the moon, and could help to support a sustained human presence on the lunar surface. Another reason why NASA is interested in exploring the lunar South Pole is the potential for scientific research. The lunar South Pole is an intriguing and little-studied region of the moon, and could provide valuable insights into the moon's geology and history. In particular, the region is believed to contain a number of impact craters that may contain valuable geological samples, which could help unlock the secrets of the moon's past. Lunar vehicles. NASA is developing a number of new lunar vehicles that will be used to transport astronauts and cargo on the lunar surface. Some of the key lunar vehicles that are being developed as part of the Artemis program include the Human Landing System, or HLS, which will be used to transport astronauts from the lunar orbit to the surface of the moon, and the Lunar Terrain Vehicle, or LTV, which will be used to transport astronauts and cargo across the lunar surface. The HLS and LTV vehicles are currently in the early stages of development and are being designed and built by NASA and its partners. The HLS vehicle is being developed by SpaceX. The LTV is being developed by Northrop Grumman. Both vehicles are expected to be ready for use on future Artemis missions to the moon, and will be an essential part of the infrastructure that is needed to support a sustained human presence on the lunar surface. If space science is your passion, do us a favor and hit like and subscribe so we can keep making more great content for you. Human Landing System, or HLS. The HLS is being designed and built by SpaceX. It is designed to be a flexible and capable lander that can support a variety of different missions and objectives. According to the mission design, a Starship HLS will be launched into an Earth orbit by a Super Heavy booster, refueled by many Starship tanker spacecrafts, and then propelled into a lunar near-rectilinear halo orbit by another Super Heavy rocket. It will then dock with a crewed Orion spacecraft there, which will be sent into orbit by a NASA SLS launch vehicle. From Orion, a crew will transfer to HLS, which will make its way to the lunar surface and stay there for several days. The crew will thereafter be transported back to Orion in NRHO. The HLS is a Starship spacecraft from SpaceX that has been modified to function on and around the moon. Starship HLS will never re-enter an atmosphere, unlike the Starship spaceship from which it derives. Hence, it lacks a heat shield and flight control surfaces. The complete spacecraft will land on the moon and then launch from there, in contrast to prior HLS concepts that called for numerous stages. 6 Raptor engines installed at the tail of Starship HLS, like other Starship variations, are used when the spacecraft serves as the second stage during an Earth launch. In all other phases of flight, they serve as the main propulsion system for the aircraft. The variant will use mid-body high-thrust RCS thrusters to prevent plume impingement issues with the lunar regolith within 100 meters of the lunar surface. Instead of using the liquid oxygen and methane that the Raptor does, the thrusters burn gaseous oxygen and methane. These thrusters might not be required though. Around the outside of the vehicle, a ring of solar panels provides HLS with electricity. HLS's mission profile calls for in-orbit propellant transfer. A Starship variation designed as a propellant depot would be launched into Earth orbit before the HLS vehicle was launched from the planet. Between 4 and 14 tanker Starships missions transporting propellant would then partially or completely fill the depot. The HLS vehicle would then take off, arrive at the propellant storage when it was already loaded, and refill before moving from Earth orbit to lunar orbit. The HLS will be equipped with a number of advanced technologies and systems, including advanced propulsion systems, advanced guidance and navigation systems, and advanced life support systems. One of the key features of the HLS is its ability to land on a wide range of different terrains and environments on the lunar surface. The lander will be able to land on the lunar equatorial region, the lunar polar regions, and other challenging environments, such as rugged or mountainous terrain. The lander will be able to provide the astronauts with a safe and comfortable habitat, and will be equipped with a life support system that can maintain the temperature, pressure, and air quality inside the lander. The lander will also be able to provide the astronauts with a range of amenities and services, such as a kitchen, a toilet, and communication systems that can keep the astronauts in touch with mission control on Earth. The Lunar Terrain Vehicle, LTV. The projected LTV will be a dependable, modular vehicle that can explore the lunar surface for an extended period of time. Incorporating an airless tire solution, robotic construction, and excavation capabilities, as well as autonomous remote and manual driving, is what Northrop Grumman is planning to do with its planetary mobility system. To ensure that the LTV fits the needs of the Artemis astronauts, consideration from the first-hand experiences of Apollo astronauts has been taken, and the vehicle's tough design will be tuned to resist the harsh environment of the Moon. With a group of top-tier automotive and space industry partners, Northrop Grumman is spearheading systems integration and spacecraft design to produce a lunar terrain vehicle design that supports both human and robotic exploration of the Moon and beyond. Spacesuits. As part of the Artemis program, NASA is developing a new generation of spacesuits that will be worn by astronauts on future missions to the Moon. The new spacesuits, known as the Exploration Extravehicular Mobility Unit, or XEMU, will be designed to be more capable, comfortable, and versatile than previous spacesuits, and will be tailored to the specific requirements of lunar exploration. One of the key features of the XEMU spacesuit is its advanced life support system, which will provide astronauts with a safe and comfortable environment to work in on the lunar surface. The life support system will be able to maintain the temperature and pressure inside the spacesuit, and will be able to provide the astronauts with oxygen, water, and other necessary supplies. The life support system will also be able to filter and recycle the air inside the spacesuit, which will help to conserve resources and extend the duration of the astronauts' missions on the Moon. The XEMU is made to endure temperatures as low as -250 degrees Fahrenheit and as high as 250 degrees Fahrenheit in direct sunlight. Astronauts will be shielded by the pressure garment on their suit from low atmospheric pressure, radiation, and incredibly high temperatures. Another key feature of the XEMU spacesuit is its mobility and flexibility. The spacesuit will be designed to allow the astronauts to move freely and easily on the lunar surface, and will be equipped with a variety of joint locks and bearings that will allow the astronauts to bend and flex their joints. The spacesuit will also be equipped with a new generation of gloves that will provide the astronauts with enhanced dexterity and precision, which will be essential for conducting scientific experiments and other tasks on the lunar surface. The X-Emu helmet has several voice-activated microphones that immediately pick up the astronauts' voices when they communicate to a colleague spacewalker, their crewmates, or mission control in Houston. It also has a quick-swap protective visor that shields it from wear and tear. In addition to its advanced features, the X-Emu spacesuit will also be designed to be more durable and reliable than previous spacesuits. The spacesuit will be built using advanced materials and manufacturing techniques, which will help to ensure that the spacesuit can withstand the harsh conditions on the lunar surface. Costs involved. The total cost of the Artemis program is not yet known with certainty, as the program is still in constant stages of development. However, NASA has estimated that the program will cost approximately $93 billion to complete. These estimates are subject to change, as the program is constantly changing and the cost may vary depending on a number of factors. Another factor that will determine the cost of the Artemis program is the establishment of a lunar base. The Artemis program envisions the establishment of a lunar base that will serve as a staging point for future missions to the moon and beyond. The cost of establishing and maintaining this base will be significant and will include the development of new technologies and systems, the construction of habitats and other infrastructure, and the provision of supplies and support to the astronauts on the moon. Future Artemis missions. Currently, NASA has 5 more Artemis missions planned spread out until approximately 2031. Following that, there are currently 2 more missions at the proposal stage. We decided not to cover these missions in this video as there is currently limited detail surrounding them. As more information comes to light, we will be sure to create a follow-up video for you all to enjoy. So, there you have it, a full rundown of the Artemis program. The future of space exploration is a bright and exciting one, full of opportunities and challenges that are sure to inspire and engage people of all ages and backgrounds. As we continue to explore the vast expanse of space, we will uncover new and fascinating secrets about the universe and about ourselves. And we will develop new technologies and systems that have the potential to improve our lives on Earth. But the journey ahead will not be an easy one. There will be obstacles and challenges to overcome, and there will be risks and sacrifices that will need to be made. But the rewards of space exploration are great, and the knowledge and expertise we gain from our explorations will be invaluable as we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible and to chart a bold and ambitious course for humanity in the 21st century and beyond. So let us embrace the future of space exploration with optimism and determination, and let us work together to make the most of the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. For the future of space exploration is not just about reaching the stars. It is about reaching for the very best that humanity has to offer. If you've enjoyed this video, do us a favor and hit like, click, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.